team.
So I came out of last week's practice, Mike, that we were able to see, and again, it's one practice, right? But this is what we could see. It's a sample size I had. I love Terrence mid-range game. Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn just showed me the talent they need at that position. Going to have ups and downs, so maybe he could be close to what Jaden Epps was or around that last year. But the other guy who really stood out to me was Sencire Harris. And we know what his defense is. He changed the practice defensively. Today he had 5 steals, but there was an assertiveness offensively. Like there was a confidence offensively that even if it wasn't always the most efficient, like he was attacking the rim. He wasn't afraid to take shots. I think that's really important for this guy. So like, what do you think about just him showing some assertiveness? What do you think that can translate into in the year? Because I don't think either of us expect him to be great offensively, but if he can add something offensively, that he becomes a completely different player.
If he creeps anywhere towards a net positive offensively, I don't know how the hell you take him off the floor. Honestly. And part of that's going to be a concerted effort from him to try to remain as efficient as possible. Because here's the reality. That's a very downhill confrontational driver, and confrontational drivers find themselves at the free throw line. So can you be better than 20%? The 20%, I think it was 20, right? 20 something last year. Because you can't be the guy that will not shy away from putting your nose on the rim and then shy away from being the guy who steps up to the free throw line. So that, to me, like that's the next step for him, because even today, 17 for 31 from the free throw line as a team. And if he's going to play, like if Sencire Harris is going to play 20, 25 minutes, and I don't know, maybe that's going to be the case, maybe it's not. Yeah. He's going to find himself at the free throw line. So, and I know this just from having guys that I've been teammates with. If you can rectify that, if you can start capitalizing on opportunities at the free throw line, become a little bit more confident in your offensive game, because you're not afraid of certain situations or, oh man, like I've always said it, if your first thought when you get fouled is, oh shit, that's a problem. Like you have to find a way to wire yourself in a way that's like, that's 2 points, man. Like you messed up for fouling. This is 2. Like we're going back the other way. Like I already have it in my, I'm making these free throws, and like that. And maybe it's lying to yourself at the beginning, right?
Have you ever gone through a free throw slump being the shooter you are? Have you ever had that struggle?
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, you're probably the wrong guy to ask.
I've had slumps from 3 for sure, but free throw line is just, and I don't know, like I had teammates at Illinois, and I've had teammates in my career that it compounds when you're a poor shooter, because what I came to find from poor shooters, it doesn't matter. It wasn't not just in college, it was just anywhere in my career. Poor shooters, they tend to shoot less on their own. And the reason for that is because poor shooters don't like seeing themselves miss. So how can you get better? And like, if it's tinkering things with your mechanics, if it's tinkering things just with your mentality, like anything in life, you've never golfed before, go to the driving range, you're going to have to put up yourself sucking for a little bit. And it can't discourage you from continuing to play. It can't discourage you from continuing to like step up to the line and be like, well, this time, like like it has to be short-term memory. And yeah, I mean, it's those type of things can snowball, especially when, like for a Terrence Shannon might get 12 free throw attempts in a game. A Sencire Harris might be like 4. Maybe it's 2. Maybe it's 1 off of an and 1. So if you go 0 for 1 in one game, you get 2 the next game, you miss both of those. I mean, there's like a week that passes. And now I'm going down a real rabbit hole here with my theory around volume shooters. Like I'm sorry, this is what you get. This is what you get on this pod. But Kendrick Nunn, when he went to Oakland, okay, like the difference between a volume shooter is they can shoot themselves in and out of a slump in the same game. Kendrick Nunn took 16 threes in a game at Oakland, and he started off the game 0 for 7. And I think he finished the game 7 for 16, which would mean he was 7 for 9 on his last threes. But for a guy that's lower volume, that's 0 for 2, and then you go home and sit in your apartment. right? So to get to those 16 threes, like that 0 for 7 for Kendrick was just the first half. For another guy, that could be 4 games. So like, how is that? How are you dealing with that? So I tie it all back to if Sencire can be confident, and it's way easier said than done. I'm not like the way he defends and the way he disrupts, and I don't know, man. I don't know. He's stealing dudes minutes.
Yeah,
he can do that.
I agree. One guy I want to bring up because I'm writing about him for Monday, and having Luke Goode on the team the entire year. I mean, you see today 2 of 6 from 3. Yeah, he shot 42% from 3 in a small sample size. Started when he got back from the injury, Mike, started slow as we expected. I think I was of the mind like, hey, a lot of fans, I don't think he's going to change everything right away. And he didn't. But towards they lose 3 games in a row to end the season. But Luke Goode was a huge bright spot in those last 3 games, 24 points, shot 6 of 9 from 3 in those last 3 games. And this is one of the worst shooting teams in the country last year. And he just looks like he's consistent, man. Like to have that guy is going to be so important. Like he's such an integral part of what they're going to do just because you have to respect it. Defenses have to respect this guy who can space the floor.
Yeah, very similar to the phrase that you would use for Jacob Grandison, right? Like he's a connector. He's kind of that connective tissue, that adhesive to, be kind of a model of what you want when you're out on the court. I think the game that was most impressive to me last year for him, and it was pretty soon after he came back from the injury, was at Indiana. Like it's just, he just made so many plays that make you sit there and go, yeah, I mean, I'd play him too if I was Brad Underwood. I'd play him frequently because
he knows where to be and when to be there.
And certain guys, it's just, it goes beyond just, hey, if you drive right down the slot, like he knows a shift from the wing to the corner, right? He knows, on a drift pass, I need to get down, I need to get into an angle so you can feed me, right? I'm a good shooter. Like those things sound so trivial, and they're just like guys just don't do it. I mean, how many film breakdowns did we have last year where I'm like, hey man, you gonna get in the vision of the passer, or like what's going on here? And you wonder why you're not getting the ball, you're not getting clean 3-point attempts. Luke Goode shows up and he's doing that. So to have a guy like that, and the importance of having a guy like that when you have new faces, freshmen, transfers, because I think he'll push those guys, and I think he just kind of serves as like, oh wait, yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We compete every play. You can see like he has some stuff to him, right? Like he'll talk trash. You can see it, man. Like he's got
the other day he stuffed, I think it was Sencire, and he was talking his crap.
Yeah, I mean it's real. He's a competitor, and he's gonna be play a big part for them this year.